Hi, everybody. Sean McCracken, news editor for Hotel News Now, here with Candace Carlisle, a CoStar news reporter based in Dallas, and Colin Sherman, a director of hospitality market analytics for Texas and Tennessee at CoStar. And guys, today we're doing what I hope to be the first in a series of podcasts where we can do kind of more deep dive into specific markets and the dynamics there and what people, really across the country in our readership and listenership really need to know. So obviously, given your collective expertise, we're here to talk about Dallas today, which is a big, booming, massive city that we probably don't talk about enough in the hospitality industry since it's not really looked at nationally as like one of the big marquee markets, but it's I feel like every single year becoming a bigger deal and almost in line with the New Yorks and Washington DCs in terms of corporate hubs for the industry. So Candace, I just want to check in with you as somebody who covers the market broadly. What's the interesting things going on in Dallas? What do you think everybody should know?
Well, if you don't know, Dallas Fort Worth is getting bigger by the day, and that's
Mhm.
according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Right now, Dallas Fort Worth ranks as the fourth largest metropolitan area with more than 7.8 million residents. With that, you've got this sort of, I call it a megaplex, but it's technically called a metroplex by some in the region, where it is sort of just cobbled upon itself and is slowly building up to the Oklahoma City border. Or Oklahoma
Mhm.
border. Um, it's becoming not only a business market from like a downtown Dallas or downtown Fort Worth perspective, because both of them have, added to their hotel developments, they've added to their convention center and meeting space. But you've got all these other cities like Irving and Arlington. And I mean, the list goes on and on because there are more than 30 cities in the Dallas Fort Worth
Yeah.
region. And, everyone's adding more and more space. We're seeing a lot of business activity. So while Dallas Fort Worth may not be like a destination market like Miami or New York, certainly like Dallas knows business, and Dallas Fort Worth has two airports centrally located in the middle of the country. All the things in which companies want to relocate to Dallas Fort Worth or move employees to Dallas Fort Worth. And this sort of immigration we're seeing from residents who want to move to Dallas Fort Worth for jobs and, education and other things. I mean, you're sort of seeing that on the hotel end,
Mhm.
where Dallas Fort Worth has the capability to hold these sort of mega conferences. And it's not just in, the major cities. I mean, Colin, you were here for a conference not too long ago and it was held in Frisco. I mean, all the small cities are sort of stepping up and wanting to get in on the big business of hospitality. We're seeing that sort of
Mhm.
firsthand.
So Colin, what are you seeing from a hospitality perspective?
Yeah, I would agree with everything that Candace said. From a hospitality perspective, it's booming. It is the beast that we all think it is. We're seeing a lot of development. We're seeing a lot of development in the submarkets. Like Candace mentioned, Frisco is one of our top submarkets within the Dallas Metroplex. And then also, all eyes are on the CBD. The CBD has done a fantastic job. I'll pause there and I'll say Central Business District or downtown Dallas. I was actually in a
Mhm.
presentation in Houston where I had to define CBD, which was
Yeah.
very interesting.
Not a
Side note.
cannabinoid oil or whatever, yeah.
But yeah, all eyes are on downtown Dallas. Candace briefly mentioned that the convention center is being redeveloped. That is going to open up even more land for potential development, potential larger hotels, which is super exciting, at least in the
Mhm.
next 4 years. We've seen a massive hotel open up kind of north of Main Frisco, which is the PGA. I don't have the full name, but it's the PGA Hotel. Oh
I think
gosh,
Omni's in there.
Omni. Thank you,
Yes,
Mhm.
thank you.
Frisco might be in there. Yeah, they like to
I
throw a
I
lot
got
of.
in my I got in my own head
Mhm.
on that one. The Omni Frisco. PGA hotel. So
Mhm.
there's just, I mean, it's bustling. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what else to say on that front. It's just
Yeah.
every submarket has something going on. And like I said, the big main thing I'm paying attention to is that CBD or downtown area, as it already is a major kind of business leisure hospitality area, or at least it's grown into that in the past few years.
Now, as an outsider, it was always my perspective of Dallas that it's much more of a business travel market than a leisure travel market. Am I wrong on that, or is that shifting? Is that
I
still the
think it's
case?
I think it's shifting. I know in the last year, which we're kind of seeing a little bit of shift in the last year, we, business would extend their leisure into the
Mhm.
weekend. So you'd see a lot
Yeah.
of business travelers kind of say, "Oh, I'm going to stay Friday through Sunday on that
Mhm.
shoulder day." And so it's kind of become somewhat of a leisure destination. I
Mhm.
mean, if you go downtown and just take a look at all the new development, like the AT&T Discovery District, it's you can just see leisure written. I mean, restaurants, bars, shopping, you name it. It's in that area,
Mhm.
or
Hmm.
it's in Dallas, I should say.
Yeah. This is interesting to me because we just on the CoStar News side, we just did this big package on San Francisco, and it seems like there's so many like really, really surface level similarities between the way San Francisco and Dallas are constructed as a markets, other than the ability to like develop in them because that's completely different. But like a lot of business driving these markets, like, but their trajectories in the last couple of years could not be more different. So, like, what's the reason for that? Is it simply like a Texas versus California thing, or is there more dynamics at play there? I'm just genuinely curious what the actual difference is like, because it kind of gets to like what succeeds and what doesn't right now, right?
Yeah, just you want to take that?
Well,
Nobody
I
wants to
mean,
touch that.
I feel like, if we were to have an executive with the Visitors and Bureau, the Convention and Visitors Bureau with us right now, I have a lot to say about, how they've been sort of adding more leisure sort of fun things to the Dallas
Mhm.
Fort Worth lineup. But I
Yeah.
mean, you kind of see that in just like sports teams. Like, let's talk about the Rangers who are playing in the World Series in Dallas Fort Worth tonight. I mean, they're Arlington has really sort of built up this like entertainment district where you can
Mhm.
theoretically go and stay in Arlington. You can go to like you can go see a cattle drive in like Fort Worth, and you can go see, go to a museum, to the Perot Museum of Nature and Science in Dallas. I mean, there's sort of like this growing roster that sort of like evolved over the last decade and really sort of changed Dallas into, I mean, I don't want to call it like a boring business city, but certainly it's been like, I feel like it's been the business city of Texas. I mean,
Yeah.
Colin, wouldn't you agree? I mean, I don't want to like rip on Houston or Austin or anybody, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like Dallas is sort of like the business center of the state. And it's been like that for a while. And now you have like sports teams, you have museums, you have like other things that they're trying to add to the mix in Dallas Fort Worth. I mean, we don't have oceans like San Francisco. We don't have mountains like San Francisco,
Yes.
but I mean it's a somewhat cool place where they are making sort of these destinations, both AT&T District as well as Clyde Warren Park, and you've got the PGA up in Frisco, where you can go and spend like a day and have fun. And so
Mhm.
I think that there's a reason why more hotels are being added to the region, and it's not just like these limited service hotels either. I mean,
Mhm.
we just got our first JW Marriott. We have, a Four Seasons that's in the design phase that's coming, we're told. There's going to be a second Ritz Carlton in the Dallas Fort Worth region. And it just seems like the level of amenities and hospitality that's coming to the market is something that Dallas Fort Worth has never really had before. And that's the thing, like all of the cities are doing this. It's not just Dallas, it's not just Fort Worth. mean, you see this with Frisco, you see this with Arlington, you see this with Irving, and the list goes on, where everyone wants to create this space to really bring people in and engage them. I mean, I there's convention centers up in Allen, Texas, and I don't know, Sean. I mean, I guess you kind of know where Allen is, but
I have
it's
no idea
yet
where Allen,
another
Texas is.
suburb. I mean, Richardson has convention space. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like every city, don't you feel like, Colin?
I
Every
do.
city has a convention center hotel, and they're all competing and they're all busy, and so it's just it sort of feeds on one another, and we've become more of a destination for hospitality and convention business as a result. And I feel like that's what sort of spurred Dallas, like the city of Dallas, to like be like, okay, we need to do something with our convention center because they don't want to be eclipsed by whatever's going on just outside their city limits.
Yeah. Hey, let me turn the page back there just for a second, Colin, because I want to ask you something about something Candace brought up. She brought up the comparison with Houston, and obviously, given your title, you'd be uniquely qualified to talk about this. But it seems like the comparison, as an outsider, the comparison between Dallas and Houston, in my mind, was always obviously when it's good in Houston, it's great, but it's so much more focused in, and the concentration of the oil and gas industry, like when it takes a nosedive, like it can really nosedive, but it feels like Dallas is probably a little more diversified and robust in terms of like demand drivers. Is that the right read there?
You nailed it. That's exactly. Dallas is much more diversified. Although I will say that Houston is becoming more diversified in its industries and less
Yeah.
dependent on the oil industry. I just did an article kind of summing that up, and we're
Yeah.
starting to see that kind of break away a little bit, which is very good for Houston. And I will say Houston right now is having its moment,
Hmm.
particularly with the hospitality industry. But I think also another thing about Dallas, and to kind of add to Candace's profile there, is that Dallas ha- has a sense of elevated luxury. It's
Yeah.
becoming a luxury market. We're seeing that in the product of hotels. We're seeing that in the product of what's being offered there. I mean, there's also, I think, one of the other things that's worth mentioning is that there's a new Universal theme park being
Hmm.
built in the Upper Frisco area, which is just insane to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why? So
Yeah.
it kind of mirrors what you said earlier, Sean, about San Francisco and Dallas, right? You're seeing
Hmm.
California and Dallas, but I think it's really because there's an elevated luxury profile coming into
Yeah.
Dallas that's kind of creating and cultivating this new, I guess, center of development and business, which is great.
And that's not just anecdotal too. Like I know when we were chatting about this briefly ahead of this podcast, looking at the data, and the openings for hotel rooms is so skewed towards the luxury side, which was really surprising.
Absolutely, yeah, and the pipeline is getting much much bigger.
Mhm.
I've been waiting to drop this fact, and I don't know if it's appropriate right now, but the amount of hotel rooms that are in final planning is at over 6,000 at the moment.
Really.
That's huge. That is, I mean, that is an amazing amount of
Mhm.
new hotels being developed, or at least in the development pipeline into the final
Yeah.
planning stages.
Now, how many of those are gonna get financed and built? I mean, that's the
So,
question, right?
yeah, I think that's going to be a question for 2024. As we are seeing interest rates go up, construction is not happening as quick.
Mhm.
So you might see those final plans stay in that stage, or at least the hotels stay in that stage for quite a while, or at least in the near future.
Yeah, and Candace, I get your take on this because if it seems like Dallas is a market that's built around the idea of it's constantly building itself up, right? Like, I mean, just space is such a huge resource there that you can constantly add to it. And you guys are mentioning all these new cool things that you're building in Dallas, which is something, once again, to get back to that comparison, you literally cannot do in San Francisco. But like, how how is that gonna change if we're talking about elevated interest rates over the next couple of years? Or is it not gonna change?
Well, so that's the thing, right? Like, that's a big question because I do feel like Dallas has been known for its development for decades. I mean, we
Hmm.
like to overdevelop. We feel like if we build it, we can fill it, people will come. I mean, we are dreamers here in Dallas. Um, we have these big projects like Universal, and I mean, there's even like Peppa Pig, like
Yeah,
everyone's got a theme park, right? And they all want to
yeah.
build in Dallas Fort Worth because, this is where, there's a growing population. I was even on the phone earlier today with a CEO who just moved here from New York, and he was just talking about, cost of housing, cost of living. So while, you know, Dallas has this like cost of housing increasing and stuff like that, like,
Mm.
it comparatively speaking to other coastal markets, it's relatively cheap. So, I guess it depends on who you ask whether, costs are rising or if they're affordable or anything of the sort. Um, but I feel like I kinda went off topic a little bit, Sean, so my
No, no, it's
apologies there.
fine. That's an
Um,
interesting idea to talk about too, is this like flight to Texas. And I
yeah,
do wonder how sustainable that is over a long term.
I agree. I saw a projection this week, and Colin, you probably saw it too and laughed, where someone was projecting that the population of Dallas-Fort Worth would increase to more than 30 million people. Do you remember this, right? Like, I
Yeah,
yeah, you saw this and you're just like, "Okay, oh," like, I mean, again, it's not sustainable. I think if you look in the last 3 to 5 years and build some projections off that, you could get to 30 million people, but I don't think that's sustainable. I don't feel like, there's enough houses to accommodate everyone or
Yeah.
transportation or infrastructure or any of that.
Well, just
However,
build houses,
maybe
right?
yeah, just build
yeah,
houses. Why don't people do that? And, what capital constraints? But I mean, I think it does. I think Dallas Fort Worth, just like any other part of the US, economy, they are going to be hit by the lack of liquidity and lack of capital that's out there right now. I feel like
Mhm.
we do have a lot of family offices here in Dallas and Dallas Fort Worth, and we have well capitalized investors, but I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on projects that just don't pencil out. So until the projects pencil out, I think we're going to see a lot of hotels in the planning phases, and it's
Yeah,
going to take some time to sort of move them forward to reality. Because not everyone has, a few hundred million laying around in the bank just wanting to bank on real estate right now.
yeah.
A lot of
Which
people
might,
like real estate. They
yeah,
just want real estate to have a better price to it and some better borrowing terms. That's all.
but that might too explain at least part of the disproportionately high level of luxury rooms opening too, because like
Correct.
these are the people who are a little less reliant on financing.
Or
At
they
absolutely.
can take that long term like investment
Yeah,
approach. They don't have to see a return for a minute.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, the
So,
luxury travelers are going to remain luxury travelers
mhm.
for the
Well,
foreseeable future.
I mean, and the same thing with the luxury owners and developers, correct? Like these are things never been cheap, and we don't expect them to be cheap.
Well, but
So,
that's what we're kind of seeing on the multifamily end too. Any multifamily project that's underway right now seems to have the word luxury attached to it.
yes,
So
yeah.
just part of the
So,
market.
I mean, you guys did a good job bringing up the idea that this like the Metroplex is more than just Dallas, and I'll call it Dallas because I don't live there and I'm lazy and I don't need to differentiate. But
Oh,
like,
you're gonna piss off the Fort Worth readers or listeners.
well, so that's what I'm getting to. I did the same thing. If anybody listened to it, like a week or two ago, I did a podcast with STR's the leader, our head of Asia Pacific, and I asked him, "So how are things in Asia right now?" It's like, "Well, do you really want me to lump in Singapore and Shanghai and Vietnam and Tokyo all as the same thing?" And so I guess I'll drill in a little bit with you guys. Where are the hot spots? What's hot, what's cold within that metroplex, like the submarkets and the cities within it? What's really standing out right now?
Well, I'll tackle that one first, and then Colin can chime
Yeah.
in. I feel like downtown Fort Worth is going through sort of a renaissance. Same thing with like Arlington. Anything around like the ballpark, is being developed right now. But you have the Cowboys there, you have the Rangers there. So that's a bit of a hot spot. I still think, West Plano, Frisco. I mean, it's like a second business district that's up there. So when Colin was talking about Central Business District, it's almost like it's become its own new central business. It's like Central
Hmm.
Business District North, or something like that. And it's uh, become quite the hub because you've got big employers like JP Morgan Chase, you've got Toyota, they have their North American headquarters there. You've got the PGA headquarters, but you have a lot of big employers. And they are always in need of, conference space. They want to be near hotels where their employees can, hopefully like be on the same property as the office, and that's kind of what people want today. They want all the amenities, and it's almost like a hotel is an extension of like the restaurant and walkable amenities that everyone, wants to be near when they talk about how cool their office space is. So then they're like, oh, and our people, like, we can have people come in from other parts of the country and host a big event and they can just stay on site. And isn't that awesome?
Hmm.
So um, so Colin, what have I forgotten? Because I feel like downtown Dallas, but it's really uptown Dallas is hot right now because of Goldman
Yeah,
Sachs campus and all the other
that's a
development right
huge
around
announcement.
Goldman Sachs. Yeah, huge announcement. The fact that they're underway, and it's interesting. I had lunch last Friday with a source, and we were eating at the Henry on a patio, and there were all these like trucks just like lined up, and it was kind of crazy because I'm like seeing hundreds of trucks lined up, and they're all lined up to go get dirt from Goldman Sachs site. And I mean, you've got lots of
Yeah.
people, kind of impacted by this much larger development that's going on. Like,
How do
it's
you
like,
guys not
whoa,
how do you guys not have any mountains with while you're moving all this dirt all the time? I feel like you should have a couple just out of necessity
right?
now.
I know. Where is this dirt being moved to? That is actually would be a good thing to know.
Hmm.
Um, Need to
I know,
follow those
Candace.
tracks.
Candace, I don't know if I told you this story before, and this is totally off the rails, but I'm just thinking about it now. My
Yeah.
father was born in Texas. He's technically a native Texan because my my gra-
Amazing.
my grandfather was in the military when he was when he was born. And my grandma used to tell the story all the time about when they flew down to Texas for the first time to move down there. And
Hmm.
somebody said to them, "It's like, oh, we're in the hill country. Get ready. It's pretty like it's all over the place." And she walks out and it's nothing but flat for as far as she can see. And I'm from Western PA. We have actual mountains. Like we got the Allegheny Mountains. Like there's an actual mountain or Appalachian Mountains. Like we got actual mountain ranges. I know what a mountain looks
Hmm.
like.
Hmm.
It's so anyway, that's my story about Texas and my Texan father who
I
moved when he was 2 years old.
As you go west in Texas, you will run into some large mountains.
Yes.
It's only where I, gosh, I'm going to get pinged for this, but it's where real Texas is that it's fairly flat and hilly.
Real Texas.
Real
Real
Texas.
Texas.
And
Well,
Sean, go ahead, Colin.
I was born and raised in El Paso, and they're in a different time zone. So when we came east,
Hmm.
it was very like, oh, this is the Texas everybody's talking about. It's
Yeah.
very different in that far west tip of
Okay.
Texas.
Okay. That's good to know.
So, Colin, you're the only native Texan on the line because I was not born in Texas, if you can imagine that. I mean,
Mhm.
some people assume I am, except for the native Texans who talk to me for more than like 5 minutes. All of a sudden, they'll just pop up in the conversation like, "Hey, where are you from?" Um, and I'm from the Rocky Mountains. So when I moved to Texas for the first time, it was so disorienting
Yeah.
because I didn't know which way was east, west, south, anything. Because I'm looking at the horizon, I'm like, there are no landmarks here. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
When you're from the mountains, you look at the horizon and you know the mountains, like you know where you are at all times. And it still kind of makes me nervous because I feel like if I got lost, like just put out in like a field somewhere, I would not find my way back to Dallas.
There's an old story about the oil moguls moving their families out to Midland that they would fly their wives in at night, so that they wouldn't be able to see where they were actually moving to because it's just so flat. So, but yeah, that's that I admit it's the geography is interesting, but I will say on that note, speaking of geography, is Dallas kind of comes back to the beginning of this conversation, is that Dallas really is central to the country,
Yeah.
geographic wise, which I think is also an addition to its success. I
It's
mean,
not just
just
the country either, it's the continent. Like
the
it's a
continent, really,
Mhm.
yeah,
yeah. So I think that's another kind of I don't know what the word would be, but that's another factor to kind of
yeah,
really kind of look at when we're seeing people move here, or that it's just a business hub. So
yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
obviously a lot of conversations. I'm gonna ask you guys to look forward a little bit about expectations, but that's gonna vary on, how we feel the economy is gonna fare. So I'll start this with you, Colin. Like, what's your upside, downside? What's the good case scenario, bad case scenario for Dallas?
yeah, so one topic that I think we briefly touched on, and I think this, I'll start with the down, and I'm not sure if it's a down depending on what side of that you're on in the hospitality industry, if you're an operator or if you're a developer. But I think one downside is that we are going to see that the final planning pipeline kind of build up as interest rates stay high. So we're not
Yeah,
going to see as many, and it could change too. I mean, by next quarter, I could be saying, wow, interest rates, they're remaining flat, and developers are feeling a bit more bullish on going forward. But until we see that financing, we're gonna see somewhat of a stall
hmm,
in some of those projects. That is a downside. Again, depending on what side you're on, because if you're an operator, you're like, oh, this is great.
yeah.
I'm the only hotel in the submarket or the city.
Muted
So
supply growth. Yeah,
yeah. Um, but the upside is we're going to continue to see growth in Dallas and the Metroplex in general. We are starting to see a deceleration in hotel metrics, particularly in RevPAR and ADR. That I it, I know that when I say that, red flags go off, but it's not necessarily a red flag. It's not necessarily an alarm for concern. It's we're seeing kind of this, and I know I'm going to get pinged for saying this, normalization. I feel like
no,
that's been the word of hospitality
yeah,
for the past few months. But we're seeing rates and levels start to kind of come back down to those pre 2020 growth levels,
hmm,
and they're expected to maintain around that around those years of growth. But overall, it's all positive. I mean,
hmm,
I can kind of just throw off a few, forecast numbers for next year, and I mean, occupancy is expected to still be in positive growth area. So is ADR. So is RevPAR.
hmm,
And for the next 36 months, it remains positive.
hmm.
I don't think we're going to see a slowdown unless something catastrophic happens and there's massive job losses. But even through the recession, growth is expected to remain, which
Yep.
is positive.
Just
Colin,
so you,
are you saying there's going to be a recession? If so, when?
well,
it's
well,
always 3 months from now. That's the
yeah, it's
answer.
always 3 months. I feel like we keep moving it out 3 months, but yes, we are expecting a mild, soft recession in the next quarter, 2024. So
Mhm.
we will see, because I mean, I'm predicting the future. I mean, I think I've only been once right. So we'll, I
Yeah.
mean, right once. See, can't
Yeah.
even get that right. But yeah, in my life. But yeah, that's when we're expecting the recession to happen. Again, it will be mild. I don't expect anything. We don't really expect anything on our side that's going to be, you know, like I said, catastrophic. And
Yeah.
I am knocking on wood at this moment that I say that.
So I got to tell you, Colin, I've been given marching orders that on the other podcast we do with CoStar's Jan Freitag and STR's Isaac Colazzo, if they say the word normalizing, I have to play a sad trombone sound effect underneath it. So
Oh my gosh.
don't make me break out the soundboard for this because
I've been I've been playing with moderation, normalization, deceleration. I don't want to say slow down. I just think
yeah.
that's such a negative word.
Well,
But
growth has been so crazy high the last couple of years. It can't be like that
Mhm.
forever.
oh, the
Right.
surge we saw in 2022 and even in the beginning of 2023, it was just insane. I mean,
Yeah.
you saw a double digit, upwards of 40%. I mean, that's in demand.
Hmm.
That's a
Mhm.
big fall to come down from, you know.
Yeah.
So
It is the most hospitality industry thing to like when we're in the midst of like a big rush like that, for people to say, there's always a sense like, well, no, this is just how people are now. It's going to be like this forever. And then whenever there's anything bad, it's like, whoa, let's tap the brakes. It can't stay like this forever. So like hospitality folks are very optimistic, I have realized over the years.
yeah, and I,
There
I think another optimistic factor too in Dallas's growth or just in its economy is that we're seeing a return of group
Hmm.
travel to the market
Mhm.
between Houston and Dallas. That's really kind of what's pulling the, or at least elevating the demand in the last few months. Is we are seeing those big group corporate meetings, full conference schedules come back to the market, which is great. I feel
Yeah.
like this is the first year of real normal, kind of normal times, normal schedules that things are
Hmm.
just leveling out. So
Yeah. Which is not the worst thing. Getting back to
no,
like thinking about seasonality and calendar shifts and all the little things that kind of went out the window over the last few years is something of a comforting feeling.
yeah, exactly.
Candace, you have any expectations going forward? You think everything's going to be great forever?
No, I mean, I feel like I mean, I feel like I'm kinda, like, pessimistic only because, in hearing earnings calls, talking to a CEO about, rising debt, that's
Hmm.
plaguing the American consumer and excuse me, all the sort of negative aspects of what's happening in this uncertain economy. I mean, I feel like uncertainty is going to be the name of the game
Yeah.
going into next year. I don't think it's going to be January 1 where everything changes. I think it's going to be sort of like rolling out this year where we seriously take it day by day. We don't know what's going to happen, in 3 months, maybe we'll recover. I feel like there's so much uncertainty. We're entering, a presidential election next year. Like I don't I mean, who would have thought the Ukraine war would be going on
Yeah.
still? I mean, and here we are with another conflict in Israel that, could very well turn into something much larger. And so it's just, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of hotels sort of tied up in the design phase for a while. I think
Hmm.
people are going to take this opportunity to rethink and second guess themselves, and we'll see what comes out of it if it's anything good. I mean, I'm sure Colin will be all over it and tell us all about it. But I mean, I feel like we're just kind of in this like period where a lot of capital isn't sure what to do, so they're sitting
Yeah.
on the sidelines, and I don't anticipate that changing until mid next year, and then
Hmm.
I feel like it's day by day, so we'll see.
Yeah. But yeah,
That being said,
we just had 4.9% GDP growth. Like that's like a
I
crazy good
know,
number. Like,
yeah. We're doing great. No one wants to invest in real estate development right now, but we're doing
yeah.
great.
Well, so that's the question though, right? Is like, so Colin, you were bringing this up. Like, what's the real impediment? Is it the actual interest rates, which we had hotel development historically at these interest rates, or is that people aren't comfortable that it's not going to change, right? Like, do we want certainty or do we want it to just be cheaper? I mean, the answer, I guess, is both, but like people can do business at this level, like, right? Like it's possible.
Mhm.
We just
Absolutely.
want,
Yeah. There there are financing mechanisms to get a deal over the line.
yeah.
So it's, but I guess they're still holding out for maybe, can we do it cheaper?
Yeah.
And
Well, that's the
so
hotel industry conversation, right? It's like debt was so cheap for so long that you didn't actually have to be good at it to make money, right? Like at least that's what some people say. Like, all right. Well, any final words of wisdom from you guys? I think this has been actually a really wonderful conversation, and I really appreciate you guys both taking the time. So I'll give you both. Let's start with Candace, and then Colin. I'll give you the final word. Any final takeaways today?
For me, I'm just, hoping that whatever happens with the Dallas Convention Center is additive to the city and helps. boost some development, maybe in the inner CBD that hasn't seen as much action as maybe some of the outer CBDs like Frisco. So, I mean, I'm hopeful, but like everyone else, I'm sort of taking it day by day, and hopefully the city can get the financing and everything over the
Yeah.
project line, because I feel like the hurdles just sort of keep being thrown up, and it'll be interesting to sort of follow these big projects, especially, because I don't want to say the fate of the city kind of rests on it, but some people might believe that. So,
Hmm.
mhm,
Colin?
I am optimistic about the city. Actually, about the whole region. It's
Hmm.
exciting to see what's coming in. It's exciting to see I guess, the level of interest from development. Um, yeah, I mean, to Candace's point, all eyes are on the CBD for me. I'm super curious what this conference center is going to spur in downtown, which it feels like it doesn't need to spur anymore. But I think that's
Yeah.
the exciting part is what else can come. Um, and I think there's just more and more opportunities, particularly in the sub markets. Uh, where it's gonna be good. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun to watch.
Hmm. Well, once again, thanks, guys. I think this has been wonderful.
Hi, I'm Isaac Colazo, Vice President of Analytics at STR.
Hi, and I'm Jan Freitag, National Director for Hospitality Analytics for the CoStar Group. Tune in to our new show, Tell Me More, a hospitality data podcast.
It's a podcast on the global hotel industry, its current trends, what we're thinking about, and where the industry's going.
And we like to have fun with the data too. Find us on hotelnewsnow.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe today.
Thank you for listening to the Hotel News Now podcast. This episode was recorded on October 27th, 2023, and edited by Sean McCracken. Go to hotelnewsnow.com for industry news every day.